right, I think we'll go ahead and get started with the after break portion of our meeting tonight. You know, we generally try to have a meeting where we have a presentation put on by someone about people or events. Ed Hackman, Ed here, is going to talk to us about an article that he had found and about the bridge collapse of 1895, and I think it'll be of great interest. So Ed, she's all yours.
Oh, thank you. That's quite an introduction. Jan Loney, which some of you know Jan, she maiden name was Strasser. Grandma Strasser had this article that she'd save forever, and it's a reproduction directly out of the Bristol Banner about the tub race. It was on the river, and when the part of the bridge collapsed under the weight of the people. So this is dated Bristol Banner. Now remember, when you're reading a newspaper in a column, and I'm probably going to screw up that part of it, but just visualize what it really looked like at that time. This is Friday morning, July the 5th, 1895. So that topic, the headline would be, part of the Iron Bridge of the St. Joe River falls under the crowd on the 4th of July, over 60 people injured. The sports during this celebration, 4th of July, met with fearful interruption, which has carried mourning into every household and has changed the happy village of Bristol to one great hospital. The program of the Citizens Committee successfully carried to the tub races. The crowd then repaired to the river banks, which they lined the first square or more. Many followed the fleet of tubs down the stream to the bridge, on which a crowd had already gathered as being the best point of observation. The racers, now there's been questions if this is correct, but it's listed. The racers were Walter Mingus, Earl App, who is some of Larry's kin, Charles Klein of Bristol, and Walter Baker of Elkhart. As the tubs passed under the bridge from the east, the crowd surged over to the sidewalk, projecting from the west side to watch the tubs that came into view under the bridge on the west side. A lot of, over the years, said the bridge collapsed. The bridge didn't collapse, it was just a walkway on the downstream side. As a mass of people filled the walk, iron braces supporting it gave way an entire walk for a space of 75 feet in length. An unpronounceable word that I can't read, grouted with its living load, was precipitated a distance of 30 feet to the rocks and water below. The shrieks of women and children and the cries and groans of wounded were terrible to hear. The crowd on the bank for a moment were stunned by the magnitude of the calamity, but they quickly recovered and rushed to rescue the bruised and bleeding. They were carried to the shore, and every possible assistance was rendered. The news was speedily telegraphed over the country. With special trains came with physicians. Doctors Irwin of Goshen, I doubt he came by train. Ballard of Union, Williams and Dunkirk of White Pigeon, and Bowers, Turner, Baumgardner, and Eckelman of Elkhart were among those who came to assist the injured. Reverend T.F. French was falling in when caught by the coattail and pulled back to safety. Mr. Dustman of the Banner, so this gentleman was to have worked at the Banner, saved Mrs. Eve Wright, and Miss Irma Bennett saved Miss Clara Miller. The following is as complete a list of the injured as can be obtained at present. The Banner believes it to be substantially correct. There's a list of the people from Bristol. And if I can get the pages apart, there's a list from Elkhart, Middlebury, and Mottville. Now, a lot of these people are our ancestors. A lot of people you have heard of. So I'll try and make this as brief but interesting as possible to also list their injury. Charles Arend, contusion of face and legs. Miss Birch, contusions of the body. Miss Cora Bart, or Burt, head injured. Garrett Bloomingdale, contusions of the body. David Cox, knee injured. Miss Lena Cox, ankle sprained. At that period in time, the Cox farm would be where the apartments are on the east-west side of Bristol. That was the Cox farm. Miss Vera Congdon, foot crushed. Melvin Carmine, foot crushed, head cut. Dr. Charles Dunfro, I hope I pronounced that right, spine and ankle badly injured. Irvin Dunn, slight injuries. G.J.B. Floyd, spine badly injured. Frank Fry, internal injuries. Raymond Giddings, leg injured. Miss Lucy Hilbish, contusions. Miss Nettie Hilbish, contoured, whatever that means, hip. Arthur Kane, ankle injured. Nellie Cantz, leg badly injured. Lydia King, knee dislocated. Are we picking up on some of these names? Mrs. Kirshner, arm broken. Miss Mabel Krug, internal injuries. Mac Little, contusions. Mrs. Little, both legs and arm broken. Miss Daisy Little, assuming that's our child, both arms broken. Miss Mary Miller, gash in cheek, hip injured. Howard Menges, I'm thinking it's a generation ahead of the Howard we would know. Serious contusions. Roland Milburn, slight contusions. Rupert Nicholson, leg broken, arm cut. William or Bill Pickrell, slight injuries. Vera Pangborn, contusion of the legs. Miss Rice, contusion of head. Mrs. Rupplogle, leg and left arm broken. Frank Rupplogle, contusions. Miss Rupplogle, contusions. I'm assuming each one of these that is named as Miss would be a child of one of these people. Douglas Stewart, back injured. Miss Stewart, left arm and body injured. Mrs. E.J. Smith, left arm broken. Will, Roy, Kate, and Jenny Sample, contusions of arms and legs. Joe Stauffer, leg injury and contusions. Eva Stamp, internal injuries and bruises, probably not serious. Son of James Thompson, I'm assuming it'd be a small child, contusions. Charles Williams, face badly torn. Miss Minnie Watts, foot bruised. Then we go to the Elkhart list. Mrs. Elizabeth Report, internal injuries. Mrs. B. Williamson, arm broken. Jesse Wesco, hip and arm injured. Mrs. Bertha Osterman and child, both badly contused. Jesse Frame, leg broken. John Kistner, hip injured and head bruised. Cyrus Sellers' daughter, internal injuries. Middlebury, George, and don't give the rest of the name, both ankles sprained. Henry Miller, back injured. Then a list from Montville. Arthur Sassman, back and head injured. Jane Hillman, leg broken, internal injuries. Abraham Hillman, dislocated wrist. David Krebs, back injured. Clyde Turnbull of Three Rivers, head badly injured. Mrs. Lydia Traddles, Porter, Michigan, foot crushed, back injured. Miss Millie Schellheimer from Sailors, Michigan, arm broken. Mrs. Irma Manning, this says Washington Township, contusions of leg. Charles Kane of Vistula, jaw broken. Hugh Rutten, Union, Michigan, jaw broken. 10:30 a.m. today, all are reported doing well. How they're doing that, I'm not sure, but that's what the Bristol Banner said. So I'm sure names of some of these people, you think, I wonder if I'm related to that guy. But I probably should have gone to the trouble to follow up in the next couple editions of the Banner to see, there had to be more information on this. But I found this quite interesting, and Grandma Strasser had this for years. And we ran across it and thought this group would be pretty interested, because some of us got related to these people. You know, Larry is, and Kings, Bloomingdale's, you know, all of these people. Okay, that's my story for the evening.
Well, I think, unless anybody's got anything else, I think we ought to call her good. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ed.